I'm so happy.
I didn't say P. Well, you're on the desk and you can't do it.
Well, I can't.
I don't want to flaunt it in front of you.
I refuse.
No, you tried that one time and it was awful.
It was awful, and I've never gone back.
It was terrible.
It just
Team Eager, my friends,
not
will be
good.
the second pick position, wearing the red trunks, and the bottom side there, Cognitive with the first pick, first ban, and the blue team. It's Athena, gone right away out of the pool. Isis, early ban there. That's got to be like the AFK scrims rubbing off, right?
Yeah, I mean, Isis is always a #1 pick between us, and it's really nobody wants to deal with Kiki's Isis.
And I really like Cog here, targeting out Dare completely. Those are his 2 top picks in the jungle. He's played Athena 4 times and Ymir 3 times, and great success on both of those gods.
An Apollo first pick. Wow. So this god we've seen really, honestly, skyrocket through we'll call them the tiers, although it's not actually that. But in terms of popularity as a pick, we've seen him gone from basically complete, unpicked, unbanned, unlooked at, untested, to, oh, well, it turns out he actually hits really hard with Death Soul at level 1, so let's draft him because he can solo lane and do a lane.
Yeah, I mean, Apollo is one of those characters that he was Smite for a long time as far as the ADC role was concerned. He finally got toned down a bit, but now he's kind of evening out. People are realizing that you can still play him, especially with this Death Toll meta.
Yeah, and he's really kind of solidifying himself into that jack-of-all-trades style of god, where he's such a comfortable pick, similar to Aneath in terms of swing as well. But Geb and Medusa picked up by Eager here. Go-to comfort lane for them, or something a little spicy?
Medusa's incredibly strong in laning phase right now. A lot of hunters are having trouble clearing the lane, especially with mana problems, and she thrives off of this Transcendence meta.
So this is what we're seeing out of Eager most recently. Very, very heavy Guardian drafts, and generally speaking here, Eager looks like in this draft they're just taking whatever they want. Cog seems a little bit more focused on kind of the meta
I'd say globals
of the game here. Yeah, the globals coming out, and well, just a little bit more about drafting some kind of very valuable lineup versus Team Eager that seems to really have a game plan going into this one, looking at the Geb Sobek draft in the first picking phase.
And Eager always seems to have the same game plan. It's put Dare to Care on a god that can get rolling early, and then you have these 2 frontline players. Their support is always, a Guardian. And then Anatoly will play between Warriors and Guardians as well. He's likely to be playing the Sobek in this game. And they like that frontline. They like to go Anatoly. They put him on a very good team-fighting god that has a good laning phase that can get him through, and he can rotate early.
Second round of bans are in. Poseidon banned out by Cog. Eager bans out Ares, indicating to me at least they are going to be going for more mobile gods. Agni with his dash, obviously. Sobek very reliant on his dash. Medusa, her only real ability to escape, and obviously Geb's rollout. All of those very central to these gods kits. Ares makes a lot of sense, and honestly, I'm looking at maybe a Circuit in the jungle here for them. Something highly mobile. Hunbot Circuit, one of these types of gods that doesn't really like cripples. As you can see, Poseidon and Ares banned out. Not a lot of good cripples available anymore. But that being said, the Giannis Apollo will have lots of ability to move around the fights as well.
I'm really loving this Eager team composition right now for team fights. If you look at them, everybody's got huge, giant AoE skills that's really going to thrive in this mid stage of the game once everybody gets their ultimates up.
And yeah, I think you're keying on a very important point there, Incon. But let's talk about Ao Kwang Guan Yu added to the Cognitive roster here to round them out. No real true frontliner, no Guardians as well. Looking at the 2 Guardian draft from Eager, I think that what you're pointing out there is that the execution requirement for Team Eager to win this game and these fights is significantly less high than what it's going to take for Cognitive. This is a very stylish lineup that they have, a very execution-dependent lineup that they've drafted, and Eager's got, honestly, bread and butter.
Who do you think Eager's gonna bring into likely the jungle for this last pick?
I think Cabrakan.
They could pick another Guardian. They really love that heavy tank line meta, but they've left themselves open a lot of options.
Hey,
ooh, Kali.
Okay, well, I mean, here's the thing with this Kali, you have Geb, which is kind of a prereq at this point, plus a Sobek for some additional PR, plus Agni with lots of range stuns to help set it up, and a Dusa for the slow.
I think the big thing is they have lanes here that they are maybe not guaranteed to win, but they're guaranteed not to lose, and that's going to be important. You can't have your lanes pushed for Kali to, potentially be invaded.
Yeah.
It's going to be important to get the Kali rolling. She really needs items to get going. I'd say boots and probably 2 attack speed items before her damage is truly there.
So here's, what I'm looking at here with the team compositions, with the Kali coming in. It's a draft for Eager. This is kind of a very typical MOBA strategy, right? If the enemy team doesn't draft enough CC, just take the most greedy thing in the game, right? In other games, you'll see that translate into stealth carries, right? Because they don't have enough CC to stop you. Kali, hard to kill, fairly mobile, lots of kill potential in the later stage of the game, super greedy. But what's going to lock her down in the fights, right? It's not the Ao Kwang. Maybe Bologna decides to ult her to save somebody. Besides that, it's a lot of pressure onto Giannis and Apollo, honestly, to keep him or her
I'd
peeled.
say the only secured CC they have is Meerkat's ultimate.
Yeah.
The portal from Giannis, that can be dodged if you have high movement speed like Kali's going to have. You have to ult on Guan Yu to lock him down, and then a Mez, which isn't really hard CC, one auto attack, and it's going to break it out.
Yeah, that's definitely what to look for here. I mean, unless Cognitive Gaming can somehow get Eager off balance, nipping away the edges with their Assassins and Warriors, it seems really unlikely that they're going to be able to go 5v5 into this Eager lineup. So they got to be looking for something that spreads the map out and makes room for this Ao Kuang to farm. I mean, also, Ao Kuang as a Guardian killer, I mean, it's okay, but he's really great against the Warriors who don't want to itemize in a magic defense.
Yeah, and it's going to be hard for him because Kali is going to ult. She's going to be death immune. So even if he executes her, that's going to be 5 seconds where she's not going to be able to be touched.
Yeah, maybe you're keying off something there that's a little bit more indicative of why that pick came out, is that Kali does not care about Ao Kuang. And when it comes to the assassin versus assassin battle, right, he's really looking at the enemy assassin and jungler as a top pickup. But let's talk about the dual lanes here, my friends. It's Polar Bear Mike and Zapman as the Geb Dusa going up against Homofe and Famous Hate as the Guan Yu Apollo. Incon, break this one down for us. What's the lane dynamic we can expect here?
So Guan Yu has way stronger clear than Geb, and he's actually a favorite matchup against Geb because you can't be knocked up within the Talon Assault, which is one of the stronger points of Geb. But at the same time, Medusa has the best lane clear in the game as far as ADCs go right now.
Here.
And as it's seeing right now, you can see that she has really pushed that lane, even with Guan Yu superior lane clear to this Geb.
So yeah, his ability to use Talon Assault, which is where he spins his Guan Dao around and knocks the minions back. You'll see he's immune to knockups during that duration, so Geb can't stop him. But as you mentioned, yeah, the Spear Clear Dusa is keeping them in the lane for now. And honestly, I don't see the Apollo Guan Yu getting lane dominance before it's just too late to matter, and Zapman's clearing the wave safely.
Yeah, Polar Bear Mike's actually rolling in for damage, and Zapman and Polar Bear Mike do seem to have the lane advantage here early on. If you're Homie FA and Famous Hate, what's your mindset? Are you trying to play passive? What's your goal as a support in this matchup?
Your goal right now really is, I mean, you want to try to get this lane clear. Geb's one of the stronger, if not the strongest, late game supports in the game, so you really need to put him behind early by getting that gold under the tower with those minions. And if you can't get that control early, it's going to be a big problem pushing into this mid-late game.
Yeah, the level 5 is also pretty dangerous here, and you can see as they continually shove the wave into the tower that it's going to be a golden experience lead for Eager moving into the level 5 position. And if Geb can find that Cataclysm, it's very unlikely they survive with the Medusa Stone Gaze coming out as well.
Dare to Care with a very early level 4 pre-2 minutes, and then he got a wave on top of that. So right now, Team Eager, very XP efficient. But you do see Anatoly already pushed out a solo lane. He has no mana, no health.
Yeah,
he does have blue buff, though.
Meerkat doing a nice job here. Yeah, Sobek, of course, can heal himself up with Sickening Strike here and there. But Bellona getting lane dominance. Not really not what she's known for. She's not known for being really a lane dominator. More of a fairly safe farmer with some nice kill potential with jungle rotations. But we're going to see, speaking of which, Eager look for a rotation here. Doesn't look like Meerkat spotted this one out.
He's not 5 either.
Yeah.
It's going to be a question of if he can get 5,
Yeah,
because
totally
Team Eager's still looking for first blood.
Totally may pluck him here. Now, putting in the damage. Here comes the Kali. It's going to take a stun. It's going to stop out the bludgeon as well. Not a lot of damage potential with the dash forward, and it's a nice return dash coming out of Anatoly, hogging out the minions. But Dare to Care can't really sit here and fight. Now he's going to eat some disarm and be forced to stand there and look a little foolish, and here comes the rest of Cog. This is going to be a first blood going their way. It looks like here. Yes! No, barely getting out of that. Sobek healing up. Was that a delayed Sickening Strike?
I believe so. He was aiming for Anatoly, but Anatoly just dodged in time, and Dare to Care actually stepped in front of the Ao Kuang execute. Dare to Care ate the execute, knowing he wasn't in range, saving Anatoly.
Beautiful. Well done there, and it'll prevent the first blood, and Eager somehow gets out of a 4v2 cleanly.
Lassus there, trying to find Bickham and his invisibility, but not able to do it. Irwin not able to steal the mid camps as well, so an early lead for Cognitive Gaming, but Eager were able to close the gap a little bit with trading out the mid camps.
There is a fair amount of pressure onto this Kali as well in this game. You know, Sobek's building, of course, obviously into the Mystical Male, as is his duty in this game. But with the double Guardians, and you know, there's just a lot of pressure on the Agni to make it work. So we're getting this. So what happened was Janus actually portaled underneath Sobek, and it caused the Ao Kuang to miss and hit the Kali.
Yeah, I thought he had executed before that. I guess it would just happen at the
Apparently it was
exact same time.
just at the same time, and that's actually what caused the interaction to fail there. So almost 4 minutes into this, when we saw the first mid camps go, looks like they were split there overall. It's about a 200 gold lead for Cognitive Gaming. They've got themselves out of what appears to be a little bit of a sticky situation in the duo lane. Homofe, level 6, rotating to the mid lane here. There's the Apollo versus Dusa 1v1, but overall here, Incon, Cognitive a bit of a lead. Eager, should they overcome this, and how should they do it?
Well, I would presume that Cog would have this early advantage. Looking at their lanes, they really picked for this individual type play of we're going to win each individual lane and take that win into the mid-game team fight, whereas Eager really drafted it doesn't matter what happens in the lane, we're going to have the better mid-game team fight with our large amounts of CC and control.
And that's kind of what you see there. Zatman is not worried about team fighting. They're trying to play passive and play for the late game, going to ult away the minions there.
Right, yeah, and that's you're seeing it, generally speaking, being, fully kind of translated throughout the strategy for the team there. As you mentioned, right? They're all playing that game. They're all itemizing for later on. It's Devourer's loves for Medusa, indicating that she's interested in a little bit of a later game to start fighting. Kali, we'll see what she goes for. We would expect perhaps an Ick Vial to come out from her, which is really a bridge item moving towards her later. Obviously, Kali's not going to be really a factor until she's 4 or 5 slotted. Yeah, and so overall, I mean, will we see something like super spicy, you think, like Agni rushing to Hootie here? We've seen it happen before. I've seen Lobster do it.
I don't think so. I think Lass is going to play it safe. I mean, the question is he going to go dual morb there, or is he going to let it sit for Tahuti?
I don't think it's a dual morb, as there's one already completed onto the Giannis, and he wouldn't have gone back for boots 3 necessarily, although Agni can make some more use of it.
You do want the escapability, especially against a Giannis and an Apollo who are going to close the gap on you very quickly if you're not careful.
I think it's a nice opportunity as well to not itemize into cooldown reduction and go for that pen and damage. And take it to the Giannis, who's going to be relying very heavily on the Doom Orb. When we keep the stacks down, he's not going to be that impressive.
Something I do want to talk about, though, I want to go back to this Guan Yu pick, because Guan Yu's not a god we see played very often in the support role in Season 2. Is Homie FA trying to get things rolling early? Incon, is he trying to find ganks?
You know what? Actually, what I want to know, Incon, to that point, is a little bit more about why you think they last picked Guan Yu against this Eager lineup before the Kali came out. But as you see, Guan Yu taking a bit of damage. He's going to need a bomb as well. 2 bombs, but no passive available to tick him off. So, yeah, with Home FA, why do you think they last picked this Guan Yu?
You really pick Guan Yu. He's a very hard matchup right now. It's hard to pick him. Warrior meta right now, support isn't that strong, but he thrives against Geb. Does very well in the lane against Geb.
He's a pure Geb thing, but I mean, looking at into the team fight that they have to go up against here, I mean, do you think that Cog has misdrafted here? Would you go that far?
I would say that they should have oriented more towards a support that could help them set up skills in the team fight. They already had a lot of single damage targets coming out. They really needed something to put it all together. Instead, they kind of have this hodgepodge of good individual characters that may not synergize well in this mid-game team fight.
Yeah, it feels like maybe they locked themselves into that Guan Yu pick when they drafted the Ao Kuang.
Maybe a Bacchus would have been better in this situation.
Right, but then they would have been so heavy on magic damage. It would have been too easy to itemize against. So I think that's a little bit of why we're seeing the Guan Yu. Well, seeing Anatoly Sholov lurking in the waters. Of course, that ability does give you back mana. It's very, very good for laning. Not so great in the team fights, but it is an exceptional laning ability.
Still no first blood, but a lot of fighting going on.
Well, that's great. That's great for Eager, right?
Yes.
And no first blood at 7 minutes. So the Kali, you are like, we did it, boys. We're through the woods.
I mean, he's got boots online. He's probably sitting with, okay, it looks like he's going to be going Executioner second item. I don't think it'll be, do you think it'll be Kin's first item?
If it was the next patch, I would say it's probably Kin's, but as of this one, it's just still a little bit too expensive for him to be picking it up this early.
Yeah, it doesn't accelerate Kali's farm the same way an Executioner will either still. Like, she doesn't scale that well off of the attack speed directly. It's the proc, which isn't necessarily effective against minions. So I think probably the Executioner as well, boys. Although, hey, you never know. Considering this start from them and considering that he hasn't been contested at all, he's been the one aggressing the lanes. Ao Kuang's not getting anything done. It's not the worst game in the world to just go ahead and say, look, I'm going to make my first item 3,000 gold.
And Ao Kuang's going to have a lot of trouble locking players down, especially against, Anatoly has Mystical Mail. So if he's going to blink away or blink into the fight, it's very likely that his invisibility is going to be immediately procced, as well as Geb. His shield's going to be able to cancel out that ult on so many occasions, and the fact that Dare to Care in his ultimate will be immune to death. So Ao Kuang, if Bikram can't get anything rolling here in the next 5 minutes, the later this game goes, the better it's going to be for Eager.
Yeah, and don't forget also, right, you got Dusa, who dots, right? And you have Kali that has 2 dots effectively, right? Lash will dot as well as if you're in range of the ultimate.
Agni passive as well.
Agni passive as well. So they have a lot of dots on the side of Eager. I think that when we're looking at cognitive gaming and we're evaluating this roster, this lineup, I think that Ao Kuang's a weak point. There's just a lot of answers for Ao Kuang on this team.
Game slowing down, but Cog seems to continually, they're around this Gold Fury. They know they want to get it going early. They're looking for the picks. They're getting out-thwarted, I'd say, at these mid-harpies, and I think that's a problem right now. And Eager is playing this very well. They're playing very passive, very back. They're not allowing Cog to push too far into their jungle. Yeah,
7 to 3 on the supports overall. Polar Bear Mike.
What is that? 7, 11, 14,
0,
15,
yeah.
16? 16 wards coming out from Eager?
Mid laner, the duo lane Hunter, and the solo laner, all for Cognitive Gaming, yet to place a ward.
Eager have the most wards placed of any team heading into this week. Like by 40.
Well, here we go. Homofey, he's going to get Cataclysm. There's no follow-up. He's going to avoid the Agni Bombs as well. Last is a little bit off the mark there. Charging
Polar
forward.
Bear's in trouble.
They're looking for a fight, and Polar Bear Mike is going to be in trouble. Yeah, he's going to go down right away. That Alquang ultimate, I'm not sure if that was fired off. It was not,
no,
so
it
he still
was
has it
not.
available. Dare to Care finds a kill to Homofey on the late rotation
He's
indestructible.
immune to death, though. He's going to have to back off there, Herwin. He's going to look for the unstable vortex. One more shot, not there.
Oh, is Lash far enough? No. Bickham's going to knock up Agni, and that's going to be all she wrote. You can't outdo that. Rotation coming in from Apollo. He's looking for Kali. Dare to Care. He's not going to juke it. No, no, no. Down you go. Famous Hate finding himself credited for a kill. Anatoli's rotated over from the soul lane as well. And here comes Zatman just off the mark. Unfortunately, with his ultimate, it was Aegis out in the mid lane there. Disarm is going to be enough to save Meerkat for the moment as well. But it's a 3 for 2. It's a bloody exchange here to start the game off with the kills. Eager coming out slightly ahead, although the gold is all squared. Incon, what did you see there?
That was a good initiation from Polar Bear Mike. He was just off the mark, hitting 2 targets. He did manage to get Homofey, but then Last was a little bit slow on the follow-up. The bombs missing him allowed Homofey to re-engage that fight, and they got the first blood onto the Gab.
Yeah, but you get Kali with a kill and 2 assists for her death. Worth?
Any kill on Kali early is good. The death, does hurt, but any kill on Kali will help her just get to that snowballing stage where she needs to be.
I think the important thing there is that Alquang, while he took a kill, he also died as well. So right now the Kali and Alquang are evenly matched on farm, both at 5,500.
Yeah, individually there's about 10 gold separating them, and both of them have quite a bit of late game potential, but of course Kali is the queen.
Famous Hate able to find a kill in the back line as well. That should help him against Zatman. He's got about a 200 gold lead, but I mean, with how passive we've seen Zatman playing in lane, enough to ult the minion
which
wave.
Is a bizarre thing to say.
How did that come about?
Yeah, what have you been doing? You've been like messaging Zatman on the slide, doing some life coaching?
No, he plays very aggressive in lane. This is definitely just playing towards that team composition. You know, sometimes you have to switch around and play to your strengths.
This is the 3rd time we've seen Lassus spend all 3 bombs on Homie FA. The first time he was very close to dying, but since then, it seems he's doing it just to poke Homie FA out.
Yeah, and he's basically challenging those Talaria boots.
They're actually, no, they forced him out so they can do gold.
That's right, but you said the second time, right? It's oh, you went Talaria boots? Well, guess what? I'm just going to dump everything into you because your HP pool is not going to be big enough to deal with this. And you're going to be delayed on your next item. As you can see, the Geb has bought into his armor a little bit earlier, not finishing off his boots just yet. What do you think about that decision, or do you think that's a decision at all?
That was a really... honestly, that was a huge play right there by Eager. Really smart playmaking there by Last. By forcing out Homie FA there with those Agni Bombs, they really got a free... I mean, they honestly got a free gold fairy because of it. He had to back. They knew he had to back because he was low. They took that time. They had the Hog 3. They didn't. That's a free gold fairy, and that's a ginormous win. First big win of the game.
It's also worth noting out that that Herwin took a spill earlier on as well here, and is now trying to restack that Doom Orb. That was in the last engagement, so back up to about 50 stacks now, but those power boots paying dividends for Lassus in that last engagement.
He's also, Herwin's 2 levels behind Lassus right now, and Lassus is abusing his advantage.
Yeah. And that gives him the luxury of dumping all the bombs because he has plenty of lane dominance versus Giannis with the level advantage and the Path of Flame's ability to clear the wave. So, yeah, all things told, it's a peachy game for Eager, and I think it was an important ban onto the Ares there that really opened up the strategy for them. All the mobility on this squad, very heavily reliant on their dashes to make things happen.
That was a huge gold fury because right now Eager was able to get their power spike items completed, all of them. Look at it. We see Ickful completed for Zatman. Nothing for Polar Bear Mike. I don't think he's back yet.
Poor guy.
But then we see the Spear of the Magus coming out from Agni. We see Executioner finish on Kali and Power Boots and Mystical Mail coming out from Anatoly. So they're going to have a pretty big advantage over Cog for a little bit.
What do you think about the power boots versus cooldown boots after Mystical Mail on Sobek?
For Sobek, he really has a mana problem. He has it built into the ultimate to get some of that mana regen back, but the power boots on Sobek are really strong. He doesn't necessarily thrive off of cooldown. It's all about big burst, one-time damage, and then you kind of back off the fight with Sobek.
Well, there it is. If you are just joining us, guys, I am Bart, and Kevin is the other commentator on this, and then as you heard just speaking there, that's Incon from AFK Gaming as our pro player inside
Incon's here.
Where?
Oh, hello.
Oh, hi.
And we're 14 minutes into this one here, 2-3 in favor of Eager, where they enjoy a modest gold lead and a pretty substantial experience lead at this point of the game. About 5,000 experience going in their way. You can see that translated into a couple of levels up in a few key positions there. Their cores out-leveling.
Again, Lassus is spending every single bomb on Homie FA, and you could really see it too. He's only level 10, but Famous Hate may take a spill in duo.
Yikes, here we go. The dot is active on him. Get knock up, and there it is.
Oh, man.
Kill credited to Zapman, but another assist for Kali, just staying involved here and getting involved early. It's an undercut on the Giannis portal. He's not going to be able to aggress with this.
They need to be careful, though, because Lassus is also following that rotation. Would have been a 4v2 if Cog elected to try and counter-engage, but meanwhile, we're going to see
Look
Meerkat.
at the ward coverage there from Cog, or from Eager on the bottom left corner of the map. I mean, just complete coverage
5
there.
5 wards. That may be more wards than
Totally
Cog's
expected that rotation to come out from Giannis, and they saw it coming all the way. They want this tier 1, and Eager playing what appears to be one of the best tactical games that I've seen this split. I mean, everything is working for them, and everything seems premeditated. Every move they make, every step they take, I've been watching it. It's been great.
I can't even respond. I can't handle it, Bart. I can't handle it.
Are you feeling the sting of Zapman's poison arrows?
It's just, you know, I don't know. Dare is just playing like a police officer. He's roaming around and he's finding and catching people caught out in bad positions. And Homie FA may be caught out again if he's not careful here, but it looks like Eager doesn't want to fight.
So, Incon, tell me a little bit about playing a game where you're the Homie FA, where you're just getting, like, keyed off on, you're level behind, and you're getting dumped on. How do you recover from something like that?
Right now, he needs to just be very careful. Guan Yu has a good strength in the mid-late part of the game. Once he get a little bit of cooldown online, with the built-in cooldown on his heal as well as his dash, he can really spam heals for his team towards the mid portion of the game. He has to make sure that he's living until then, and that might require Meerkat to be the initiator.
But he needs a lot of... I mean, is it a Jotun's Wrath he's building after the Sovereignty to get to that cooldown?
If anything, I would get the Breastplate of Valor to help against that Kali, because the Kali is going to be tearing apart everybody.
But would you expect... At the same time, Lassus has been spending all his bombs on Homie FA. If he's electing to go into that physical protection, I mean, it's just harder for him if Lassus targets them out, isn't it?
I would consider that a window. If you can get their mid laner, this Agni, who has the spear, who has these power boosts, to burn all 3 bombs on you, that means that your squishies can go in and do a lot of damage to their backline free of charge.
Okay.
Well, 4-2, boys. 16 minutes in here. Eager still continue to expand upon that lead. Now 3,000, what was once 2,000 gold. And wow, look at that. 7,600 experience.
Yeah, and you said it right. A very tactical game. It's only 4-2 in kills, and they have 1 Gold Fury, but that's a 3,000 gold lead. They've gotten that 1,500 off of just out-farming, and it seems outplaying, outmaneuvering Cog.
Yeah, it seems like they're catching Cog unawares here. A couple of times, it's looked like Cog's like kind of rotating, being like, "Oh, damn!" Like, they're already done with the Gold Fury, or they've already taken our tower, or we're aggressing into a Geb who's about to Cataclysm us off the right side.
I almost thought they were gonna. I thought they were gonna denial strat it, because denial likes to do this too. But normally they'll come out with a sentry.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, looking back at our duo lane matchup, Zapman now 2 levels ahead. He's a kill ahead. He has his Ick file plus a little bit of bonus attack speed and a sprint 3 versus a sprint 2 and beads here. So there's a lot of kill potential on this Apollo. And maybe even more importantly, Batman's ability to wrap around the Gold Fury here if they take an engagement and start hitting the backline, which we'll see generally mid-game hunters look for that type of play. It will be a bit faster than they expect, I would imagine. His ability to gas pedal is very, very dangerous here, 17.5 minutes in.
Eager's still, I think Eager's going to try the same thing. They're going to try and force Homie FA out. Even if they don't get a kill, they want to make sure he has to back and then look to instantly go on the Gold Fury. You see both teams, you know, kind of positioning around it, but neither team wants to go ahead and force it.
Itemization here from Cognitive Gaming. Let's touch on that, as I think it's relatively important. Incon, you heard earlier, kind of describing that Guan Yu needs to pick up some cooldown reduction. You can see them itemizing accordingly. The Heartward Amulet was completed on Bologna. Although they got the Sovereignty on Guan Yu, as he does need that bonus HP, and he's one of those items, and now he will look probably for that Breastplate of Valor. Executioner finish for Meerkat, so he's going to be avoiding Ickfile altogether in lieu of taking a defensive item.
Kinsai's are online for Kali.
320 minutes is very fast.
She doesn't have Beach, she doesn't have Vitalis, so she's going to have a hard time sticking on targets, especially with the mobility coming out from Cog. But if she can find it, she's going to kill someone.
They have Geb, Agni, Dusa, right? I mean, they can lock a target down for Kali to hit it, but Gold Fury started up, and I don't think even the cavalry charge is going to be enough. The red hair not going to close the distance. Trying to make it as Homofay. Yes, it will be in time. Medusa Ultimate expended and does nothing to stop Homofay making it to the backline. Zapman in some trouble, but now he's turning around and putting the damage out onto the Guan Yu, who once again is the favorite target. Last is credited for that kill. Polar Bear Mike is erased. Herwin credited for that kill with the shotgun, and now moving into the backlines is Meerkat trying to make the play. Anatoly, his ultimate will fire, dealing quite a bit of damage. In comes Apollo as well. This fight, while being a lot of kills stacking up for Eager, it looks like it's going to turn back in favor of Cognitive, unless Eric can make it happen. It was his target that he takes out. That's a kill, and he's going to look for the second as well. Oh, he'll get it! It's a double kill for Dare to Care. It's a 5-man wipe. Only the Kali left standing. And honestly, it's the dream now. Zapman, I'm sorry, still alive as well. They'll take the Gold Fury, and they get 2 kills out of their Kali. 3-1. Shinsai's paid out pretty nicely there.
Yeah, I'd say 2 big things happened there. First, we saw Cog kind of light initiate. We saw Homie FA run in. We saw the Giannis ult come through. Homie only stuns out Zapman. And then he's kind of a sitting duck.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Lassus zones out the enemy backline. Cog takes so much damage, but Meerkat in the same sense was able to ult into the backline and find 3 carries alone with no aid at all.
Yeah, almost turning that fight for Cognitive Gaming. There was that late rotation coming in from Famous Hate. If he somehow wouldn't be able to disrupt and let Homifade live and continue healing up the team, there's a good chance they turn that one back in their favor. Instead, Dare to Care kills his target, and, well, he reaps the spoils, finding a double kill as well. So, 10,000 gold. Net worth has been broken by Kali and Medusa here. 20 minutes. Fire Giant potentially started by Cog.
It's not potentially. They're going to start it up here. And Eager's just watching 5 men from Cog, but they don't want to commit to it, it seems. And now they're going to look for kills. And no, they're going to back off. But Eager might be able to reinitiate this. They've spent that gold advantage that they just got.
Yeah, Kali's still a little bit low on mana here, but it's a 2-level advantage on the Polar Bear mic, and that's huge in these types of engagements.
What's Eager trying to do here right now in Con? They just got gold. They have about a 6,000 gold lead. What's your mindset with this lead?
Eager needs to just group up and make a play. They can either bait a Fire Giant fight or they can just shove down the mid lane. They have the XP lead. They have the gold lead. All they need to do is group up and start to force something. Bring the fight to Cognitive Gaming.
Who are you trying to target out as Eager right now? Who's your main target?
Who's the problem?
Right now, I mean, you're looking just to get in the backline and do as much as you can. The Outquang could turn on at any point, so he's always a good target to get off of your backline. But as far as counter initiation goes, there's really nothing on the way of Cognitive Gaming. Homieface only level 12 right now, 2 levels behind Polar Bear Mike, and even if he was ahead, he would still be having a hard time right now.
And it seems like really the problem for Cognitive in these fights is honestly Anatoly Sobek. It's so disruptive, and he's controlling so much space and allowing for these types of plays to come in, although this time it doesn't take a Sobek to get there, although he is in a nice position to try to pick up a kill on this Giannis. He's going to force out the ultimate with an ultimate of his own, but that sends Giannis back to base, and an angry Sobek turning the corner there.
They're not going to be able to defend this tier 1 now.
Yeah, he'll completely
If Anatoly can find a pluck on someone rotating in, they're likely to take a spill as well. Here's the pluck. Can Meerkat survive it?
Why was that so free?
I don't know, but Anatoly just under tower. He's going to find the kill, and now pick him as well.
That could have gone so much worse for them had Lassus elected to not go for the Outquang. Oh, Homifay, he's going to try to make something happen, but he's running through Path of Flames, and that's just ticking away, eating away his health. Spear of the Magic stacking up as well. Not to mention, there is a Void Stone being built and worked on by Sobek and has that aura active as well, so all near true damage coming out. Once again, getting picked up 1 by 1 is Cog, and as if I said it, Anatoly helping me out there. You can just see how much Sobek has been a problem. He's too tanky for them to easily kill, and he's so disruptive in these fights.
And he's tanking a Phoenix right now at 22 minutes in. Bickham and Herwin are trying to defend this. Dare to Care is going to I don't know who his target is, but if he can get this heal, he'll live. It doesn't look like it's Herwin's, but Zapman, I'm surprised Herwin went in there.
A little hungry there. I think Cognitive Gaming throwing in the towel a little bit here as they chase some kills. They go down. They're down 7,000 gold now as things are starting to get pretty ugly for them. I'm sorry, 9,000 gold. Wow, math is hard. 9,000 gold, 16,000 really experience.
Yeah, and that experience is, I think, the big thing. Only Zapman level 20, Anatoly and Dare to Care, and Lassus actually are all 19 as well, but they're all 2 to 3 levels over their counterparts.
Can we take a minute to talk about Polar Bear Mike? Because we have Incon here on the mic, and do what I did there.
That was great.
How ridiculous is it this player is able to step into a team like Eager and immediately be performing at this level?
It's really something incredible. Being able to come from a Challenger League team, moving up to the Pro League, and going in to fill the shoes of a person like Aurora, who was such a strong support, is really incredible. And the fact that he's built up synergy so fast with this squad is just a testament to how strong he is.
They look better with Polar Bear Mike than they did with their original starter.
I agree.
Yeah, they took their game off Cloud9 with Polar Bear Mike.
As a mid-season swap, that's unheard of.
Yeah, Homie FA here. He's going to likely take a spill. His ult's coming out, but
it doesn't even matter if he dies at this point.
Going to go through, yeah.
I mean, everything is used there.
I have one question to expand upon that, Incon, as Fire Giant's about to be started
done.
here.
Yeah, there's no way.
Are you helping out Polar Bear Mike? Are you guys are you telling him strats and how to play as a support? Because I know that's the big thing with TSM and C9 is they Undying, they do not hold back. They tell the other team their strategies, what they did wrong, and what they can improve on. Are you doing the same thing with Polar Bear Mike?
Of course, after every game, we always make sure to talk to each other, and we talk about what was the strengths and the weaknesses of that game. It's always good to get the viewpoint of another team and say, wow, that was really strong. We didn't know what you were going to do there. Or, hey, you probably should have done this instead while we were doing this.
And it's just the absolute worst nightmare. It's Geb who's built a Magi's Blessing. If this character, or really any Guardian for that matter, gets ahead and is able to skip one of their defensive items for a very early Magi's Blessing, there's almost nothing you can do about it. As you can see, the front line is just owned by Eager with his double Guardian. There's just nothing happening.
Has not missed a pluck.
Anatoly is playing the best game of Sobek that we're going to see this season. I mean, I can't think of a better one.
I mean, not too many. Maybe Zalia has matched him. I mean, he might take a spill here.
Maybe on
but no, he's not. Actually, that man's going to save him out.
But, I mean, yeah, you're right. Zalia maybe has had a more explosive and kind of highlight reel game than this. But in terms of game impact and high value out of that pick,
oh yeah,
this is the best game I think we've seen all split for the Sobek. I mean, just complete and absolute control and denial of anything that Cognitive wanted to do.